but building the
Hello, everyone. This is Ace Corner Talk. I'm Ace, and I just want to get into some things for this afternoon. Those who have subscribed to Ace Corner Talk, I just want to say thank you. Those who have pressed the like button, thumbs up, thank you. Just want to get into a few things today. Just want to talk about a few things. First of all, it's so much going on right now in our world, in our community. There's so many things that we are dealing with in our community. So many things we're dealing with in our society. So which brings me to one of the topics that I do want to talk about, wisdom versus knowledge. Some of us, we might be familiar with some of these topics, some of these things, but I think, excuse me if you think I'm not paying attention, I'm just fidgeting real quick until I get myself together. So I do want to talk about some of these things, wisdom versus knowledge, and we're going to get into it. Wisdom, the quality of having an experience, knowledge, and good judgment, the quality of being wise. That's what wisdom is. Knowledge, facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education. Theological or practical understanding of a subject. That's knowledge. The difference between the two, wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom, the ability to discern and judge which aspect of knowledge are true, right, lasting, and applicable to your life. Knowledge is really about facts, ideas that we acquire through study, research, investigation, observation, and or experience. So I want to talk about wisdom versus knowledge. Intelligence versus common sense. In today's society, are we really using our best, or should I say, are we really using common sense, or we are using intelligence that we acquired? What are we really using today in this society? Are we really using the common sense that we have acquired? May it be somebody taught us, may it be we acquired it through certain circumstances or situations. How are we using the common sense that we have acquired versus the knowledge that we have acquired? How are we, those who do have kids, how are we imputing or raising our kids to be able to use their great common sense versus the knowledge they learn in school? So that's what I want to talk about today. Knowledge versus common sense. Although they have similarities, they are different. You can go and open a book right now, read, comprehend, and acquire that knowledge from the book that you read. More so, common sense is things how you have acquired through experiences. Some people don't have common sense. Some people can't even chew gum and tie their sneakers at the same time. That's a cliche, but some of it has facts. Some people can't do certain things and don't have common sense. I have been around hundreds of people who just do not have common sense. It's hard for some people to use common sense, use logic. They just can't do it. It's hard for them to grasp the reality of using common sense. Thus, they don't. So they rely on what they've been taught through books. Have you ever been around a person that just think they're just so smart, so book smart, but then when it comes to logic and reality, that it seems like they're out of touch from the reality? I want to thank those who are looking in. This is Ace Corner Talk. Feel free to converse and chat. That's what the chat is for. All right. If you're agreeing with what I'm saying, if you look down, whether you're on your computer or your phone, look down and you'll see where it might say chat, and you can chat with me. We can converse. That's what I want. I want to converse with you. I want to be able to hear what your thoughts are, because this is something I want to bring to the table. All of us deal with this, whether we want to face it or not. Hey, what's up, Kev Matt? What's going on? How you feel? All of us deal with this situation, whether we want to or not. Are we using knowledge or common sense? Which one? Because I work with people that don't use common sense. I think, to me, I find it strange because I like to use common sense in a lot of the situations I deal with. And when you work with somebody that don't use their common sense, it's like it's foreign to you. When you perceive a situation, you say, well, why didn't he do it this way? Or why didn't they do it this way versus doing it that way? Okay, maybe they have been taught through somebody else that used some book smarts. Okay, that's how you should deal with it. But the reality, when you're using your common sense, you have went through a process of eliminating what would be the best way to do that. You understand? What's up? What's going on? Peace, peace, peace. Kev, my man Kev, that be bothering me all the time. Kev Mac, peace to you, good brother. So I really want to talk about that because at the end of it all, in today's society, we have to use our common sense, people. You have the president, Donald Trump, whatever you want to call him. He's the president, and he's now the leader of the free world, right? With all of the stuff that is taking place and that's going to take place, we're going to have to use common sense and be able to think quick on our feet, people. We're not going to be able to sit back anymore and just say, you know what? I'm going to go to school. I'm going to acquire some knowledge to get a better job to do. Sometimes you're going to have to use more logic and more common sense than anything. Just like in the Bible. A lot of people think that just because they read the Bible, that they have a common knowledge of the Bible. The Bible is more practical than anything. It's more or less using common sense. But some people, since they read the Bible, they think they're theologians now, and they can tell you all kind of stuff and what has been interpreted in the Bible. This is what it's supposed to mean, and this is what it says. Well, I disagree. I agree if you apply a lot of logic and let God lead you in the Bible, you can figure out some of what God is talking about. That's just throwing that out there. Holy Girl, 1982. Peace. What's up? So I just wanted to throw that topic out there because if you don't use a lot of the common sense that you have, you're gonna find yourself falling into a deadly trap, people. You're gonna find yourself falling into a trap that you ain't gonna be able to get out. You understand? You're gonna find yourself relying on a lot of book knowledge that may not help you for a particular situation. You understand? A lot of the things that are happening now is pushing us to use more common sense than our knowledge that we have acquired in the past. What worked in the past may not work for the future. We might try to use that as a model. Yeah, I've been through that. I did that in the past, But now we're having to ante up our game and switch up what we did in the past to be able to make it now in the future. We can apply some logic and some things to what we've learned, but not only are we going to have to ante our game up, we're going to have to use better judgment in what we're doing and how we're surviving. We have to use better judgment on a lot of the situations that we are faced with. That's just what it is. We no longer can just sit back and say, this is how this situation is going to work, or this situation is going to work. We're going to have to dig deep and pull out our best common sense that we can. That's where we at in this today's society. How are we going to train our kids when they're having to be pumped in school about book knowledge that may not even work for them? Some of the book knowledge they're learning may not even apply to them. Some of the things about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and all of that stuff that they learned, a lot of stuff which they stay away from teaching them about black history. Some of that stuff ain't even going to work. Some of that stuff when I was in school don't even work. Now, I don't even use half of that stuff. All that stuff I learned and they taught, don't even use it. So I'm teaching my kids how to use more common sense now rather than trying to use the book knowledge that they're learning. Not saying the book knowledge doesn't have its place at a particular time, but I'm trying to teach them how to inquire some common sense, use more common sense. You understand? And that's where we're at. How do we take what we're learning? How do we take what we inquired and apply it to use good judgment? I've seen people that they just do all the wrong things at the wrong time. And it's like, wow, man, how can we not see how to use right judgment in that type of situation? Come on, talk to me, somebody. Let's converse about this. What do you think, Kev? What you think about a situation like this? Is common sense, is it better over knowledge or knowledge over common sense? I want y'all to talk to me. Holy girl, talk to me. It is using your common sense, is it better or knowledge? Which one is it? Because as I see it, if we don't apply it in the right manner at the right time, we can either cause a situation to get great or bad. Either or. That's how I see it. Or we can either spiral into a situation that begins to get out of control. Oh man, wow. There has been hundreds of people who were killed. This is breaking news. In London, there was at a concert and hundreds of people were killed. I'm telling you, people, this is getting crazy. Now we are really having to dig deep, people. We are having to dig deep because it's getting crazy out here. Kev says common sense isn't that common. You're right. There's a lot of people that don't use common sense. A lot of people don't want to use common sense because common sense, mate, I would say it like this. Common sense hurts because if you have to use common sense, that allows you to face reality. And that's what people are trying to escape in this today's society. They want to escape the reality of where their life is and how life really is. They want to escape that. They want to be somewhere on Mars. They don't want to be somewhere far out. They want to escape the fact that if they got to use common sense, that means you got to evaluate a whole lot of things in your life at one particular time. Isn't that crazy? That's why people try to rely on what they have been taught through books and things that have been passed down. That's what people are using, because if they have to be confronted with using any type of common sense, that draws them out of their comfort zone. That means they have to get that mind thinking. That means they have to be quick to think about certain things. You might not agree with me, but deep down inside, you know I'm telling the truth. Because once we start to evaluate using better judgment, better common sense, that allows us, it forces us to be a better person. Because that judgment, that little thing that goes off in your head, some may call it the voice of God. Some may call it reasoning. Some may call it wisdom. Some may call it the ancestors speaking to them. Whatever you redeem or whatever you tie it into, using great judgment and wisdom at the right time can allow a situation to turn around in a moment. What do you say about it? What do you say we should do in today's age? How do we train our babies and our kids how to use better judgment? Because the crazy things my kids do when they're in school, they come home, the teacher might call, hey, your son just did this. And my thing is, why did they do that? Why didn't they use better judgment when it came to this particular situation? So what in us allows us to do the dumb things we do? Is it temptation? Is it that we can't stop in the moment to think about the choices we make? What makes us do what we do? What makes in our mind to say, do this, knowing that it's the wrong thing to do? I want to know what y'all say. Common sense lasts a lifetime, Kev says. Kev Max says, common sense lasts a lifetime. Things you learn in school are rarely used, which is true. I agree with that. That's one thing we can agree on. And one thing I do agree on is common sense does last a lifetime, but is it used? We can get common sense, but do we apply it when it needs to be applied? That's what we want to know, because people don't use common sense when it needs to be used. They might have it, but they don't use it. So what's the sense of having common sense when you don't use it? My thing is, when you have common sense, it should be used. Yes, we got knowledge, but we forget half of the stuff we've learned in the books. Half of the government stuff I forgot because I don't apply it on an everyday basis. Common sense you apply on an everyday basis because you're forced with decisions. Should I do this? Is this the right thing to do? Should I back up from this? Should I proceed with this? That's what we use that on an everyday basis. You understand? We use it on an everyday basis. Common sense. So should we be striving for more knowledge? Or should we be striving for more common sense? Or should we be striving to use common sense in the right way? You got people in the conscious community, and I'm just bringing this up because I watch a lot of the conscious brothers. They're so smart when it comes to telling you about our Black history and our Black ancestors and all of that great stuff. But then it might be a scandal that comes out about them doing some dumb things, scamming people, Brother Polite, Sonetta Studios, all these different people doing dumb things. And you say, why didn't they use common sense in that? So you got all this smarts, but you can't tell me the right thing to do at the right time. That's where I'm at. That's what I want to know. Donald Trump or whoever in the White House. Yeah, you got all of the smarts to inquire how to be a millionaire. But where's the smarts to tell me how to survive? Not only get that bread and that money, but how to survive at the right moment, at the right time, which requires common sense. You might disagree, but those who do agree, you understand that if you can use that common sense, that small voice that tells you this is the right thing to do, you can survive. It's about survival, people. I want to teach my kids how to survive. Yes, go to school, get that work in, be smart, be better than the next person. Try to strive to get a good job. Yes, all of those things are good. And yes, I am teaching them to do that. But I also want to teach them how to get that common sense, how to be better stewards over their mind, so that way, when it's time to make the right decisions, they ain't flying off the handle. They can keep some type of poise about them. I went through it myself. I went through it. I, in the past, have avoided a lot of situations because I had to learn more common sense than I did knowledge and book smarts. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience because I had to learn how to use my hands versus using my head in the books. So when it came time to start learning more of the books, smarts and book knowledge, I intertwined both of them together. You understand? I took both of those ingredients and applied it to my life to make me a better person. So I think I'm on the right path. I'm not perfect, but I think I'm on the right path to making better judgments for my family and myself. Today, if we don't align ourselves with people who have good common sense, we're liable to be followers of dummies and idiots with smarts. I know you hate to hear that, but that's what it is. We will align ourselves with people who can't bring us out of a situation when we need them to. We'll be following idiots and dummies and people who just don't know how to survive, who will give up on life. It's about survival. How are we going to survive? How are we going to teach our kids to survive? How can we help one of our friends that might be in need with the right words, with the right common sense? I had a friend of mine say, hey, man, I appreciate that talk we had. You opened my eyes to something else I didn't realize. That's using logic and common sense. Although he has knowledge of certain things, I gave them a practical way of looking at something. Sometimes doing things the way we have perceived to do it is better than saying or using common sense to do it is better. I go to YouTube a lot of times to try to figure out certain things to do. It don't work out the way that it should when I'm in YouTube and I'm looking at this and I say, okay, that's how you do it. Oh, I'm gonna go try that. Get on there and try it, and it doesn't work. So a lot of experiences that I've acquired have taught me how to use common sense when it comes to doing things. A lot of fixing things boils down to, am I using good judgment and common sense? I today just wanted to throw that out there as a topic. I wasn't going to be on here long. Just wanted to feed in a little bit just to give some of those who have subscribed to me a dialogue so we can go back and forth and have a great dialogue. I like to hear the comments. I like to hear your feedback. I want to converse back and forth with you. So this is not just a one-sided conversation. This Ace's Corner Talk is for us. It's for us to be able to sit down, have a good dialogue, and get some good content that we can all help from one another. This is not only something we can use in our life and everyday situations. This is something that we can help other people with also. I think that we can help other people by helping them use their common sense. Not just saying, hey, man, just use what you learn. No. How about looking at it from 3 sides of the story and not just one side? Have you ever been around a person that they can only see their one side of a story, of a situation? No matter how much you talk to them, they only see that one side. Instead of stepping back and saying, you know what? There's 3 sides to every story. Mine, yours, and the truth. You understand? Mine, yours, and the truth. How you perceive it, how I perceive it, and what really happened. If we can practice those type of qualities, we'll be better stewards over everything that comes into our life and that comes into our hands. We'll be better stewards over it because we'll learn how to apply those type of things at the right moment, at the right time. Y'all can agree or disagree. It's up to you. But if I'm telling you the truth, I want you to agree by pressing 1. If I'm telling you something that's right, agree. It's facts. Great. No Love Heartless says, this is facts. Well, thank you for agreeing with me. Because I believe that at the end of the day, once we have passed all of our process, our thinking, our evaluation, when we lay down in that bed, we're going to think about what has transpired throughout that day. We might even dream about some things we did. Some of y'all might be dreaming about food and all that other stuff. I don't know. But some of us might reflect back on our day and how it went. If you had a bad experience, you might reflect back on that. How could you have dealt with it better? How could you have avoided this or avoided a confrontation? Some of us probably would think back to how we could have proceeded in that situation to help us better in the situation. I don't know. But just coming together and having that dialogue about these different things can help us. In today's society, a lot of people are losing their mind. They're losing their mind, man. Last night, when I was at work, there was a lady walking back and forth. She was looking in the window. She was all covered up with some stuff. She looked like she was from India or something, had like that attire. And the first thing that I thought about was, she's probably homeless. Then second, I seen her digging through the trash. She was hungry. So I'm not a judgmental person, so I can't judge a person for being in that predicament. First thing, my common sense tells me that she either made some bad decisions at some time, or she did something that allowed her to be in that predicament. Of course, she did something because she's in that predicament. But I wasn't judging, but I was thinking to myself, would common sense have, all right, peace, Kev, would common sense have contribute to her making better decisions not to end up in that situation? Even with the knowledge that she probably had? I don't know. It's hard to grasp why people are going through what they're going through at the right time, or not the right time, but at that time. It's hard to grasp that because I don't understand what makes people do what they do, knowing that it can cause them harm, danger, but they do it anyway. Well, I said I wasn't going to be on here long. I just wanted to get that dialogue. Wisdom versus knowledge. Which one are we using in our day-to-day life? Are we using both and applying them? Are we using one versus the other, or one versus the other? Well, how are we using the knowledge we have acquired, and how are we using our common sense? How are they intertwined with each other? Can we apply the common sense at the right time, the right moment, to be a better person, to move forward with strength? Or are we strictly using the book knowledge, things that mama taught us from what she's learned? Or are we using that still voice that tells us right from wrong? Some might say it's their God. Some might say it's the ancestors. Some might say it's what they've learned or their inner self. Whatever you redeemed that in your mind and your head that you're using as common sense, let's practice that so we can be better people, so we can be better stewards over what we have, so we can be effective in what we do in life. Love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Those who haven't subscribed, tell your friends, because this is for us. This is for us to be able to come and have a dialogue back and forth. A dialogue that maybe something we might converse with each other might help us through a situation. This is Ace from Ace Corner Talk. Until we meet again, peace.